Africa.
Back together. We are back together. Back together again. Wow. It is October 25th. I do hope those of you have had a lovely evening. For this month, Black History Month, every day in every way is a way of Black history, Black stories, Black things to be said in a nutshell. ICU UC ME. It's our second show for October. ICU UC ME. So pleased that you're with us here today. Sunday, the 25th of October. We've got quite a show for you. Last time we were together, which was the 4th of October, we spoke of all the artists that we've had together over the past 3 months. 21 artists, and today we bring you 6 more. Plus, one of the artists has also been with us from the beginning. We're going to get some information. That's Thierry Caldwell. He's now a man on the ground. We're going to find out more about that later. I had a lot of information and a lot of words and facts and figures that I put forth, and I had all ready for today's show and what I wanted to say. What I really want to bring together, capsulate in our reflection, is the reflection of ourselves. The time here and now that we're together. In thanking you that you're here with us, sharing the journey of ICU UC ME. Please let us know what you're thinking, how you translate what you're hearing. put some comments in there, and there'll be further information in concerns to how you can contribute to ICU UC ME. There are many ways. You can contribute by donating. You can donate through Ko-fi.com, and you can also get involved and have one of our lovely t-shirts. They're gorgeous. They really look nice on, you know. With all that said, the artists that we've got for you today have really reflected upon our title, which is Reflection today. And with that, it's their interpretation. Reflection. We take that as something that we see in the mirror. We take that as something of the people around us, reflects our spirit, reflects our life. The things that we put into our day reflects the next day. It's the beating of the drum. With our first piece, our first artist, her name is Sharon, the lady poet, beautiful woman. She's an author, and we're going to find out more about her in just a short while. Before we do, let's hear what she has to say about reflection at this time with her piece called Peace. Thank you. Sharon, the lady poet.
Hi, good evening, Gida. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening. This poem, as you said, this poem is called Peace. It's not a case of black and white or any other color. It's just a case of peace, having respect and honor. There is evil in this world, also injustice. We have to exert wisdom to fix this. Targeting and killing one race has to be stopped now. How would you feel if it were you? How? The color of your skin should not determine who you are. Get to know that person. See their qualities from afar. Violence, maces and guns certainly isn't the way. I wish people would know this. Maybe one day. Looting and burning just adds fuel to the fire. Enough is enough. Yes, we have to take it higher. We need to seek God's face, meditate on his word, put our trust in him, believe, and prayers will be heard. Yes, it's been happening so long. You say there'll never be change. We have to increase our faith. You'll see what God will arrange. There's good in all races. Hopefully, we'll get to see. Love and respect each other and live in unity. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you very much. Let's have some claps, and you can put your comments that are there in the opportunity to put your comments, obviously, in the little captions there. I can see some nice fans and some handshakes, so that's nice. That's lovely. Thank you very much. Sharon, that was beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gida.
Oh,
thank you.
Out of your piece, there's so much to say, but what I do want to reverberate is your trust and your strength in your faith, Definitely. I know that when we've spoken previously, and speaking of that, and it comes out in your piece, and has that been your driving force in concerns reflecting on these times?
Yes, definitely. It's been my driving force in so many things, you know, in many areas of my life, through things like I went through that wasn't pleasant, but God saw me through. And it just really even helped to increase my faith, that knowing that no matter what comes our way, even these terrible times and things that have been happening, I just put your trust and your faith in God, stand on his word, and he will get you there to where you need to be and make things right. So yes, my faith is definitely always there, and it has increased, most certainly.
Most certainly. As a people, it is known that faith and obviously within the courage and steadfastness of going forward and pushing through does make a difference in surviving. Like many people, it's of all races, which is a big message within the piece that you've shared with us.
That's
Also,
right.
I want to say that you are now an author.
Yes.
And that's obviously something that's highlighted. How
Yeah.
are you going from strength to strength with that?
Oh, really? It's I'm just thankful that I finally got it done, because I've been writing for many years, doing poetry, and I've never sort of like done anything with it. And it's just this year I finally managed to put pieces I've done over the years together and get it out there. And I'm just so thankful that it's sort of like got out there. I believe and hoping that it's touching people's hearts. It's called The Poetry of Life. It's on Amazon, and it's about stages that I've been through personally in my life, which I'm sure many people can relate to. Mm-hmm. So I'm just thankful that it's out there. And yeah, one of this particular poem is not in the book, but you know, as I said, it's a reflection of many different things, of stages of in life that's happened.
And as reflection is, when we go through these things therapeutically, what you're stating is that by writing these things down, going through the motions, the events, the experience has helped you to pick yourself up? Or have you found that you're regaining your strength? Or has life changed a lot for you now since writing the book, or otherwise these victories that have occurred? Do you have a different reflection upon your life from that? That's what I'm asking.
Sure. Yeah, I do have a different reflection. I wouldn't say necessarily that life has changed drastically, no, because it hasn't. But I do have more of a better reflection that I finally sort of more or less got it out there. Because as I said, I've been writing for many years, hadn't managed to get it done. And the reflection that it's more of positivity that I finally, I've got it done. It's got out there, and that I believe and know that it will be touching people's lives where it needs to be, basically. So yeah, in that respect, I'm very, very, believe that it's a positive thing there. It's definitely.
Thank you. This being one of your first performances, let's say, out there on stage, your debut performance, how have you found it today?
Wow, I found it great. It's a bit nerve-wracking, as you could imagine. You know, it's my first performance and no experience, but it's been great. I've found it, like yourself and everyone behind the scenes have been very helpful. And I'm just glad that I've actually got this poem out there. I hope it's touched people and that they like it. And I'm just thankful to be here. Very, very thankful to be here. Thank you.
Not at all. Thank you. I want to say tick. I mentioned that with Sharon concerns to being her debut performance. From that point of view, she has seen our shows, decided to get in contact with us, and thank you very much. And from the opportunity and taking grasp of her own destiny and being able to reflect a part of her world by being involved in ICU UC ME. And Sharon, thank you again very much. Lovely piece.
For having me.
Thank you very, very much.
For the rest of the evening.
Thank you. The next artist that we're going to see and reflect upon today, we're going to look at some of his work before we have the opportunity to talk with him about it. Let's have a look and let's roll the piece. Jason Bond. Thank you.
Tell me, what do you see? Do you see what others see? Do you see what you've heard about me? Do you see what's been written about me? Do you see the snapshot
Jason's
of me?
video,
Hang
Invisible,
on, rewind 5 minutes, then
speaks
fast
of a
forward 5
time
minutes, and maybe you'll get a real picture of me. What is it that you want to see? The misunderstood me? That's what you choose to see. You see, there are so many facets of me, perceptions of me, assumptions of me. It's amazing what one's eye can see and then translated and perceived to be. Have you taken the time to know me without the judgments me? Please don't judge without facts, you see. There has been so much pain inside me that I didn't even know that side of me. Sometimes it's like there's another me inside of me. I would sit there and cry constantly. Some would say that's not manly. The lyrics of songs which resonated with me, this is why I cried hysterically. Little did I know this was healing for me. By trauma, my mind was affected mentally. How could all this happen to me? Invisible, that's me. Invisible to you, invisible to me. A strange word. Invisible, that is. A precarious word. I'm kind of there. Who, me? But kind of not there. That's me. Inception, it's called, when you plant a seed about me, and now this is what people believe to be. Take a step outside the pot and maybe you'll see, not this seeded plant version of me. So now let me tell you a real story. Truth versus facts, analytical, that's me. You see, a version of a story nowadays we call that truth. You see, that version got my brother life for murder in HMP. The truth is what founded him, oh yes, guilty, if you ever knew what that did to me. Yes, he is my brother, which is half of me, let alone what that did to my family. Now, hypothetically, what would your opinion have been listening to her version of a story? It's crazy to think no one believed his story, but 2 appeals 3 years later, the facts appeared accordingly. Miracle facts set my brother totally free. Case thrown out, all charges dropped, and hesitant her version of a story that she could no longer remember thee. The lesson here is you will always be blinded by truth you see if you continue to choose not to see. It stifles me that you choose what you see. I am proud of him now, 2 years in studying at university. However, 8 years on the internet still slate his name as Black Boy Guilty. And still no real apology. It's the epitome of our black history. Some may see this as some old sob story, or even as far as narcissistic of me. But how do I stand tall if I don't speak up for me? What is it I see? I see abused me, abandoned me, broken-hearted me, lonely me, mental health me, anxiety me, a metal wall of protection me. It's not nice to see this kind of me. Do you really believe in me, as I only feel it half-heartedly? Actually, I know you all do. It's just my own insecurity, because the whole time I know that you've been fighting for me. All I wanted was for you to love me. Instead, you chose to embarrass me. Then out came the rebellion me, didn't know that was destroying me. Now I realize that was the ego me. The pain in me has caused pain in you, and for that I say I'm truly sorry. I may have hurt you, however that was never done intentionally. From my heart to your heart, that's me giving an apology. I kindly ask, please forgive me. The shoes me, the clothes me, the glasses me, that wasn't really me. That was all but the mask of me. I hated me, everything about that me. Who it was I said was me. Searching outside for the love I needed to be. Why couldn't I find the real me? One may look in and think this is funny, but in one way or another you're a replica of me. Yes, look in the mirror, you are truly me. I see how many times I have fallen down me. Most importantly, I have seen how many times I have stood up me. However, the standing up hasn't been easy for me, but to stand tall is not a choice, you see. So now let me tell you the light I see. Healing me, growth me, loving me, big heart me, courage me, greatness me, magic me, creative me. Finally, I love me.
Love it.
Do you believe me when I say I love you? All of you. That's me as I see all of you in me. All inside this beautiful black me. Oh me, is this really me? Wow. What would I do without me? Without me, I wouldn't have learned to master me. That's the Buddha within. Buddha, that's me. You see, never underestimate one's life journey, because everything, I mean everything, is a beneficiary. Not just for me, but also for you. Now do you really see? Healing me is healing you. Yes, I am healing we, can you see? Visible is who I am. Visible is me. Other people's opinions no longer matter to me. Love is what is important to me. I am who I am. I know who I am. And I am now finally free. Sensei whispered and reminded me. Lion King. Yes, that's all of me. Thank you, I say graciously, because victory, victory, victory is all I see. Invisible no longer, because visible is me.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. That is fantastic, beautiful. Thank you very, very much. Jason, you know, I remember when I first saw your piece and all the me's and the reality of our facets and many different sides, the reality that we're not just one way, one-sided. There's so much of us, as in the 10 lives, as you are aware, and I'm sure, and I know that. Also, the change that occurs within our life. And first, let me say congratulations on the video. Congratulations on the culmination of that and putting it out there and the response. And what has been the response from your video, Jason? What has it been?
The response has been like really amazing, to be honest. There's the poem itself is like it's multifaceted. So people have been drawn to many different parts of the poem. So, you know, people are drawn to the part where I speak about my brother. People are drawn to the part where where I'm talking about just being invisible and no one not really noticing you. People's been drawn to the part where, you know, they've realized that, you know, there was a past and there's been definitely some like self-reflection, and now they're seeing the light from the dark. And, you know, you have to for you to see the light, you have to have gone through some sort of trauma or some sort of, you know, experience where, you know, you weren't in a great place. So then to be in the light and then see, you know, where you've come from is like, it's a great thing.
Most certainly. And we do know that from darkness comes light. You have to go through that to build. I keep using this word a lot today. I realize strength. That part of you that you need to pick up and just, okay, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to do this. I can manage it. And you referred to that within Sensei. I will say that if our public, our listeners can remember, we had Eddie Capone that introduced us to, when he did Sunshine, he introduced us to something called the Gohonzon. And today we hear from Jason the word sensei and also the lion, which refers to what? What are you referring to at that point?
I am talking about Buddhism. So I am a Buddhist. So therefore, yes. So Gohonzon, and talking about sensei. So sensei is the mentor. Is basically the president of the SGI, so the Soka Gakkai International, which is based in Japan.
Right.
So it's basically it's spread around 192 countries around the world with over 12 million members. So I'm a part of that organization here based in the UK. So I am a Buddhist, SGI Buddhist. In
referring to that, as you say, SGI Buddhist, but I understand that it's a Nichiren Buddhism. Would that be correct?
That's definitely correct. Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you. I'm going to go back to that in just a moment. Before I do, the other thing, I know I've touched on your family. You spoke of, obviously, your brothers, the relationship you have with your brother. But one of the other things which really impacted was when you went through the phases of the me that, you know, we can sometimes just feel downtrodden, and the me that just has nothing good to say. But the acknowledgement of that change, is that something that you have experienced yourself?
Yes, definitely. Like being, obviously when you're in that space, like you don't see it, you know, you don't see it, you may feel it, but you don't see it. So only when you start to come out on the other side, like you get to understand, like, wow, like, was I really there? Like, wow, was I really there? And you just talked a second ago about, you know, falling down. Yeah. So every time you fall down, you know, you make sure that you have to get back up. Like, it doesn't matter how you get back up, but you have to see, you know, have to, by the grace of, you know, whatever it is that you believe in, that, you know, you have to get back up, because by getting back up, that's your strength.
Right.
You're building on your strength by getting back up.
And also by hugging a tree. Now that was my best bit. I'm a great believer in grounding ourselves, taking your shoes and your socks off and walk on grass. It definitely grounds you. Hug a tree and you'll be surprised how much it brings you so much closer to nature and that natural part of ourselves. And hugging a tree, oh, I love it. For you going forward, now you've done this video, do you have any other work that you're going to share with us that you have in the pipeline that we'll be seeing very soon, Jason?
I've been writing like quite a lot, and you know, there's a lot that I've written, to be honest, and you may see some of it in a book that should be coming out hopefully by next year or so.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Within what we know of you, be creative. So be loved, be creative.
Yeah.
I will tell everyone that if you'd like further information about all our artists. Their handles and emails and so forth are there. So please don't hesitate to contact them, find out further information. Otherwise, contact us. And that is Poets and Monologues and Gida Live, which have come together to present to you ICU UC ME. Jason, I want to thank you so much for your time. There's more that I want to talk about in concerns to Invisible. Just the name itself and how sometimes, well, not sometimes, it's very true that people may not be seen, but their effect and their contribution that they give to society, the world, our existence is quite evident. So as much as you may believe or think that you don't see me, I know I see me and I see what I'm put into it. Is that something I'm going to ask you, Jason, that you think started? Where did this poem actually start from? That's the question that I'm asking. Where did it start?
To be honest, like this year was like the first time I've actually like put pen to paper. I'm 41 years old. I'd never really written before. I had this stuff going around in my head. Obviously, in the poem, I talk about trauma, and I talk about not being in a great place. And you touched on it earlier as well, about the Nichiren Buddhism. So I use my faith and I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo twice a day, and that helps to create a state of mind which encourages wisdom, courage, and compassion. So through chanting, that brought out another side to me, or something that was always there, but I never knew that was there. And I was then able to then write this poem. So basically, I woke up one morning, I took the pen, and I just started writing, and that was the end effect. That's what came out, and not only surprised myself, really surprised like my brother, my mum, and then when I started to read it, and I performed it on an open mic stage back in March, just before lockdown, and the reception from it was like really great. And from then, I've just like continued writing. So, never give up on like your dreams, and never give up on yourself, because whatever it is that you're going through, you're going through it for a reason. And no matter what I went through, back in my childhood, my adolescence, even like early adulthood, it was all for a reason. So you go through it for strength, you go through it for growth, but then once you've got a handle on that, you're then able to then share that with others, and hoping that will touch somebody else in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you very much. Very well said, so succinct and to the point. And within that strength which you shared with us, and in chanting twice a day, and what that brings to your life and what that energizes, because I believe and I know that we all have the Buddhahood, as is said within the teachings of Nichiren Buddhism. So thank you very much for sharing all of that with us. I'm really grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's all give a great big hand again for Jason Bond. We've got some great artists today. I'm just overjoyed. Our next artist, I'm going to ensure that we're ready for him. So I'm just going to, yes, we are, to introduce the next gentleman. Wow. I mean, I could even put my little piece of paper to one side. I will first say Dapper. I first met KG is a gentleman's name many years ago, when the accolades towards the work that he's been doing and what he does within his community, his contribution. I'm speechless, in fact, as I am now, continuously putting into his community and continuously ensuring that the health of others and himself around him are the best. So I want to say thank you. And with that, let's listen to what KG is going to share with us this evening. So thank you very much. Have a great big round of applause for KG, everyone. There we go. KG?
This piece is called A Serenity Calls. Bring me closer to your aura. I want to feel weightless in its depth. Hold on until there is nothing else. Listless days of laughter make me free and light of heart. When I am with you, a serenity calls. A clear connection of our consciousness, bouncing off clouds of cotton wool. In my mind, I was a child again, and all that mattered was candy floss and hopscotch. This community of hearts beating through the rush of day. When I think of you, a serenity calls. Help me release the tension of a ruptured soul. What colours will you choose for me to swim through? Will the blues and purples soothe, or will the reds and oranges excite? I want to bathe in the everlasting richness of your rainbow. When I hear the words, a serenity calls. There is no place in this time for pain or fear. Let the misery ebb away. Cuddle the vulnerability of a deeper love and embrace the tranquility of love's newest form. When I say these words, a serenity calls. Help the society heal itself by bridging the gap between intolerance and ignorance. Wish the withering worries away and let peace be the final thought. When I write the words, a serenity calls. As the clouds group together, they lament by humming the sounds of what they believe to be the laborious task ahead, and they drift apart, tear-soaked and sullen. I'll think about the efficacy and what this means to our higher being. Should I interact with the breath that holds all life and retains reason? I'll dream about this as my years go by. Will I remember the spiritual calling of the earth's contour? Chrysalis packages melt when the sun yawns. The scent left behind is honeysuckle and rosemary. When I think of you, a serenity calls. These things have no monetary value or significance, so I'll play the musical notes given to me in silence. And when they are finished, there will be nothing else. Remember that these things will remain with us at all times. I'll comfort the hidden knowledge and dare to push the boundaries of enlightenment and memory. When I hear you sigh, a serenity calls. Thank you.
Lovely. Wow, that was very, very nice. Thank you very much, Katie. I want to hear more information, claps and so forth. Thank you very much for all of you who are commenting on Facebook and those of you who are looking at us through your Facebook pages. And then we've got those that are looking at us from their phones and the comments that we've got there. Lovely. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you very much for the donations. For those of you who have donated, we appreciate that very much. It's £3. Have a look. It's www.ko-fi.com. The information is there, as you would see at the bottom. It would come up. And I've also mentioned our lovely T-shirts, which are for sale. They're £15. In England, the postage and packaging is free. For those of you abroad who would like one, please email us. That's at azawala20@ymail.com. So we have T-shirts available and we're asking for your donations. Why we're asking for donations? For our artists. Artists, as you know, at this time have changed their way of life. We are performing, we are interacting differently. I had this very good conversation, in fact, with KG today and this week. And within the comments, within what was said, we spoke of how we entrust and we share with you our work. We share with you the time that, whether it be very hurtful, emotional, but most definitely personal. And as poets who go before so many of circumstances, situations, this is what we do. We share with you so much of our own heart. As a great believer in love, and as a great believer in love is the answer to many of our questions, I come to you, KG, and I want to thank you so much for being with us here today. Thank you very much for making the journey, and your piece, A Serenity Calls. Beautiful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You can hear me, KG?
I can hear you now, yeah. I can hear you now. Can you hear me, Gida?
I can, most certainly.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much. I was speaking of your piece, Serenity, A Serenity Calls, and it's light and it's just relaxing. But the words are very poignant. Yeah. And we spoke earlier of the changes and what artists have to go through to create. What did you go through within creating that piece?
Well, this piece I'd written quite a while ago, actually, a few years ago. And I was asked to perform at the Peace Festival. So I'd written a piece specifically for that. And so the calming effect and the kind of lulling and the very serene flow and rhythmic vibe is something that I wanted to definitely incorporate and capture within that kind of time, really. And I think it's relevant now because with what we're going through with, politics, particularly American politics, what's happened within the Black Lives Matter movement, lockdown, COVID-19 here, I think it's important that all of us just kind of take a step back, have a breath, and try and think about something a bit more positive and try to put away all the kind of negativity. I mean, it's difficult, but just for a moment, if we can escape into something that's wonderful and positive, I think we all need that.
Yes, I agree. It's putting away that negativity and building up that positivity. Yeah. Within what you said also, as the creator of Word Lovers Society. Now, tell us a little bit about that before we go into another subject, please.
Okay, well, the Word Lovers Society is a group that I founded quite a while ago, a few years ago, and we were running for about 8 to 10 years. We put on performances based in East London, so the group was based there. We're a community-based group, open to anybody from any part of London, and it's basically people that are interested in all forms of writing. Creative writing, people that are very much inspired by what's going on around them, particularly family life or current affairs or just things that they're feeling at the moment. So we've had quite a few different events and we've toured as well. We've had exhibitions, written exhibitions locally as art exhibitions. So it's been really successful. Unfortunately, because of the whole lockdown thing, we had to stop because the library's closed. But at some point, I'm hoping to restart the Word Lover Society again and perhaps get a fresh new audience to come along and have, people join the group. That would be fantastic.
I'm sure it will. What you've done with the work of the Word Lover Society is momentous.
Thank you.
Helping many individuals go through their own pains and situations, however dire it may seem to others.
Yeah.
Another thing with the Word Lover Society that I know of, and the work that I know that you've done, and recently in taking the mental health first aider exam or going through that training respectfully. Through the other pieces that we've heard, even from Jason, he spoke of mental health, reflected upon that. It's something which is apparent, prevalent within our culture. I say prevalent within our culture from the process, and I say process because it's sometimes misdiagnosed, misunderstood, don't even let me start there, go forward. What I'm really saying is it's understanding that we're not all the same and people need different foods, different environments to help them exist in the environment that we're in. How have you felt the training be that for yourselves and being able to help others? Because mental health in its own, it's so vast. It's so vast. How's that been for you, KG?
Well, the training's been really interesting, actually, and a real eye-opener. I was quite inspired to take this course because I feel there's a disproportionate amount of particularly young black men who are lost in the system. I find that things like talking therapy and art therapy aren't really offered to black men. They're considered aggressive, and so let's just, give them loads of medication, dope them up. And for me, that's not the way to go. I think the system should be a lot fairer and equal. And from what I see, it's not. I mean, certainly there's been a change within the last sort of 15, 20 years where I'm seeing a lot more, young black men who are walking around on the streets, who are talking to themselves, who are very disheveled. And it's incredibly sad. In fact, there was one young boy that attended my writers group, very young, but, had a very mature outlook on life. And he wrote some very, very powerful pieces. And I was sad to see a couple of years ago that he's kind of walking around on the streets now, talking to himself. And, we need to really look at trying to help these people, because there are so many people out there and they're not getting the help that they should be getting. It's not a kind of, one rule fits all. It's very nuanced. And so we have to look at the individual, really. And from a cultural perspective, coming from the black community, we are, we can be quite animated, we can be quite loud, we can be, a bit more kind of, vibrant in our outlook. And so sometimes that's misconstrued as being aggressive or violent or having the wrong kind of attitude. And so for me, it's about changing minds and changing mentalities. And so I wanted to kind of take that course, complete it and do it, so I can go out there and, the little knowledge that I know, I can then try and, in some way put that knowledge to the test and try and help others if I can. And I'm not a counsellor, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, but what I can do is just offer positive solutions. Sometimes if somebody's been at home for a while and they're not coming out or they're depressed, something as simple as saying to them, do you want to go to the park for maybe half an hour? Have you spoken to a friend or a family member now on the phone? Something as simple as that really, really helps. And it's also about talking. I think talking is really important, and listening. It's really important that we listen when people do have a problem. And in many cases, it's closer to home than what we really think. So if you see a change in maybe a family member or a friend's behavior, maybe they look a certain way or they seem quite subdued, start a conversation, have a communication with them, start a conversation and see what's going on. So I felt really fulfilled completing that course.
Yes. I am very much encouraged by what you've said there and what you shared with us. It is some of the things that you've said are very true in concerns of conversation and communication. And it's encouraging that we have that from, when I say yourself as a black man, those of us who are aware of, lost for words again, no, I'm not going to say it straight. Those of us who are aware of how people may be diagnosed or seen. You said it quite rightly, animated or otherwise, that larger than life. Yeah. Yes, I am, we are. Yeah. Ubuntu, I am because we are, therefore I am. Yes. That's not totally correct, but that's exactly what I mean. Yeah. What I am saying, and seriously from concurring with what you said there, KG, is that the communication makes a difference. It's having a different angle, and we can help each other in a different way, and it's only ourselves. Do not rely on anybody else to come for you. It's most definitely save yourself. From that point of view, I mean, it's looking for the things that can help you. Yeah. Looking for the right foods. We've also spoken about faith today. We've heard about the faith that enables Sharon to go from strength to strength, that gives her that peace of mind. And when Jason spoke of his faith as a Nichiren Buddhist, how his chanting, he does that twice a day, his Gohonzon, and it enables him to, I'm not saying see things differently, it's how we embody those instruments, those things that are there to help us. And thank you very, very much, KG. What you shared with us there is a real good set of meat to chew on. I don't eat meat, but nonetheless.
You're welcome.
No, it's all food for thought, and seriously, it is about the communication. Yeah. You've spoken about the mental health and doing that. I also want to touch on, just before you do go, you were speaking about how many pieces that you've written. You've written so much over this past few months, and has that helped you go through the process yourself?
Well, I mean, for me, I find writing to be quite a difficult process. I can't just sit down and write. It doesn't necessarily just kind of flow. I have to really think about what I'm writing. In many cases, I have to really feel what I'm writing. It can be quite a visceral experience, as I'm sure you know. But I'm inspired by, what's going on currently in the world, the injustices that, we need to put right. Writing, language, poetry, performance art is a very powerful medium, and it's one that we need to use to, to kind of improve a situation or highlight a situation. And for me, it's all about highlighting what's going on at the moment. There are so many injustices, and particularly, the George Floyd murder moved a lot of people. And I don't want to kind of sound cliched about that whole thing, but I was personally affected by that. As a black male, I was personally affected. I don't know George Floyd or his family, but it's absolutely important that we highlight these things. I mean, I'm sure there have been many other George Floyd style murders, but we don't know about it. This particular one was filmed, and the world is now changing, and it's sad that it had to take that for the world to realize that, okay, we need to start treating black people with respect. So I was inspired to write a piece based on, George Floyd's death, his murder, and also writing a piece about being locked down and being in isolation, because it's so surreal. I mean, it's very apocalyptic what we're going through now, and we don't know what's going to happen if there's going to be another lockdown or another further lockdown.
Very true.
So so I mean, these things are quite inspiring, and it's good to get the message out there and to get my thoughts and feelings out there, because I'm sure it resonates with other people as well.
Thank you. KG, I want to say thank you very, very much for sharing your works, your views, and your experiences with us. I do know that you'll be visiting with ICU UC
Absolutely.
again.
Yes.
I look forward to that. And thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Gida. Keep up the good work, and it's been great being on the show.
Thank you very, very much. It's appreciated.
Thank you.
Everyone, if you'd like further information in concerns to getting to know KG, where information can be found, information will be in the little captions that are there, and we'll be able to find out more about his works and also what he'll be publishing over the next few months, I believe. We didn't mention at the time, but I do know that something will be coming out in the next few months. So you can always get in contact with us and find out about all of our artists. As I said, over the past few months, we've had over 20, 25 artists who have come through our doors. If you would like to perform, be it talk about your music, otherwise, if you'd like to talk about your artistry, if you'd like to give us further information about your business, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can do at azawala20@ymail.com. Otherwise, at Poets and Monologues. Please get in contact with poetsandmonologues@gmail.com if you'd like to perform with us, and for any further information, we very much appreciate it. And if you would wish to donate, please do so. For ourselves, the artists are very, very important, and we support that. Our next guest today on ICU UC ME. This gentleman, I believe that one of the first times that I saw him, he was doing what he does when, those things that make fun of you. But it's an art. It's an art to have your picture painted, or otherwise a caricature. This is one of the many things that this gentleman does, in fact, as an artist. We're going to be speaking with Mr. Morris Thompson. Morris, are you there?
Yes, I'm there, Gida.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.
Greetings.
I'm so excited to see your work. I do appreciate so much of what you do. Yes, as one of the many things that you do, as I said when I first met you, was a caricature. And I've always said that it's a skill to be able to do such a thing, to be able to share your art, to be able to put someone's face and persona so succinctly and correctly and just on point. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Today you're going to share with us some of your work that I see that you've got with you in the studio. Mm-hmm. Before we do go to one particular piece that you'd like to share with us, for the time that you've been painting, drawing as an artist, obviously, and through that study, it's very really arcs, but Why art? What does that give to you? How do you feel about being an artist? What is it that you give in being an artist?
Well, basically, the earliest memory I have, well, one of the earliest memories I have, I remember as a child, as drawing. I think I was in a nursery or something like that, and I was drawing a face. And the teacher came up to me and said, "You need to, it's too dark, you know." And I said, I just looked up at her and I said, "It's a black person." And she walked off. That was it. And I was just a little kid, and she just walked off from me like that, and no further questioning. But it just showed me that through art I represent myself. Naturally, I just drew a black child, and the teacher didn't understand a black child drawing a black image, So
Wow.
Yeah, it's
wow. I have learned this week. Sorry to interrupt you. I have learned this week. Never underestimate the effect that you'd make on one individual. Do not underestimate what your legacy is on one individual. We may think that our legacy is climbing that mountain, or otherwise playing at this great auditorium, or I finished this or completed this. We make an effect on so many lives every day, in every way. And I think that's one thing that is seen in art. Admittedly, I went to an exhibition yesterday in central London. Irrespective of where it is, many artists were showing their work in the art galleries it was a collective of art galleries. How do you find it being involved or getting into art galleries? Is this something that is a struggle, otherwise very easy to get in contact with the art galleries? Can you give us some light on that, please?
I wouldn't say it's a struggle as such. I think you can go to some places and they will look at your work and they will say it's not for them. It's not really of the style that they want for some reason. And I don't know what's behind it, because I don't say, oh, is it because I'm black? Or I'm not going to get stupid like that. I'm just going to accept it and just see what is I can do. I'll look at their work and see if I could see if it really is something missing in my work. Someone did tell me one time that they couldn't see the art in my work, because a lot of the times I used to do a lot of portraiture. You understand that it's just copying, and so he just said you're just copying, and I thought, well, that's an insult still, because it's art, and I'm capturing the person's expression. But then I knew I had to find something with a message, and that's what I feel I found now.
Would it be right to say that art is subjective? Is the interpretation of the individual what that art is? As we hear of certain artists that can just put a piece of string and hang it from the ceiling, and it could be considered just as much art as it is to see I don't know, some spaghetti hanging on a plate or something like that. I mean, I know that's quite literal, but it is of the eye of the beholder. With that, I want to go to some of your art now and look at the beautiful works and the pieces that you've been. What piece would you like to introduce us to first?
My first piece, I'll start with my favorite.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah, it was inspired by Erykah Badu, because I think she's very spiritual, and I love her music, and she's creative in herself, So this is it. I don't know if it's coming up okay.
Yes. Yeah. I see there's a lot around it. Why is that? Can you give us a little insight into why you chose to do that?
Basically, because she's spiritual, right? And my viewpoint is that the universe is spirit. It's energy. It's what we're made up of. And without it, we can't exist, because we exist in it. And that's why I've used those type of images of space, try to capture energy. And she's of that type of mindset as well. If you listen to her music and different things that she depicts. Yeah.
So through that, I understand we're talking about connection. We're talking about obviously seeing something which is different to what we might hear, seeing something and having that feeling. Because one of the things that I learned in going around to an art gallery, as I've been told, is it's great. There's so much to see, but you can't see everything. So look at what attracts you. And once you look at what attracts you, you'll obviously embody more of it than looking at something that you're really not interested in. So you see something that attracts you, and with the all the textures and with all the things that there is to see within the work that you've just shown us, we can gather so much information, just not of the artist, but also the interpretation that you want us to reflect upon. Would you show us another piece, please?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, funny, because you said connection. I do call that piece, among other piece names, I do call it Universal Connection. So
right.
There's another piece, again, it's Erica Badu. It's an image I saw of her. She was looking at some flowers, and so I just used not exactly her image, but just, you know, I just got inspired by it.
Right. I think we may need to see, oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Can it come back a little bit? Yeah.
Come back.
To see it in its entirety. We get to see her hair, the shoulders. And you say you saw something, and through that you were inspired, obviously, to show us more. We come back here.
You want to see more pieces?
I was stating that you saw something, and with that you were inspired to create that piece.
Yes, because basically it's very, it has a, how can I, deep, they all have deeply spiritual look, vibes, but it was peaceful because she was looking at a flower, you understand? So it's very soft, you know, and at the same time it's a powerful image, you understand? So I was just attracted to it. Yeah.
To go now to the professionalism within the work that you do, which is fine art, as a fine artist and portrait. There's something about you, I think, unique about capturing the person by capturing their soul. There's many portraits that are done of infamous and famous people. And when you see that portrait, it's good and well having the image of them and the outline, but capturing that soul of them. How do you go to that point in capturing that and then putting it upon the canvas, what you work with? How do you do that?
I mean, I was always taught early days, you know, you draw what you see, you know. You don't try and, you know, look at some, guess at what's there, you know, you really look, you know. And then we show you different ways of breaking down an image so that it becomes simplified, you know. And then after that, you begin to look deeper, and then you capture expressions, you know, not just the physical. You begin to see the feeling, and then basically you're reading, you know, you're reading, you know, whatever you're looking at, you're actually reading, you know, and actually feeling the vibe as well, you know. So it's all reading, sensing, that type of thing. So eventually it will come out, it will come across, you'll get that. Once you learn the techniques, you become relaxed and you just begin to see and feel.
Thank you. That's quite an insight into the reality of sitting there for a portrait. I must admit, I have been in that position before, and it's something else when you're on the side of the I would say the artist who is taking in your every line, taking in your every motion, and just your structure and just how the curves and the waves and so forth. And this is all part of reflection, what we're talking about. So it's seeing what we don't see ourselves, and other people take that image of us. You know, I want to encourage us all to look at ourselves in the mirror, as we know the famous Michael Jackson song, In the Mirror. But in essence to that, yes, look at yourselves in the mirror. There's no harm in talking to yourself and having that mirror time, letting yourself know what you're going to do, how you're going to get it done, and that you're not just going to be in this plane at this time, but you got things to do, you got places to go. And I want to encourage us all to get there. This is part of our message in reflection. It's not just about you. I see you and you see me. What are you doing for yourselves and for others that can make a change? What are you doing in your life state? What are you doing in your community? What are you doing for your faith? If you do not have one, what do you believe in? What do you see? In reflection, it's all parts of this and the many facets that are there. Maurice, I want to say thank you again very much for sharing that. and all the information. We can see obviously your works that are there. And for further information, we'll have Morris's information in the captions there. Please don't hesitate to be in contact with him. If you would like your portrait done or otherwise a caricature, I want to ask you this, Morris. At this time, I know that we're all aware of what's happened within the past 8-9 months as we go into November. But more importantly, how has the industry changed for you? Can you give us a very small synopsis of, well, I can say just a little reverb.
In terms of what's happening in these current times, that's what you
How's
say?
it affected you within your art?
It doesn't really affect my art as such. You know, I suppose getting it out there, going to events as such, it can affect it. But obviously, I can do things like this. I can go online. You know, I can still get it out. I can still get it out there. So going to events, yes, most definitely interacting with people and meeting other artists and or entrepreneurs and such like. You know, it affects me in that sense. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And if people would like their portrait done or otherwise to get in contact with you, please don't hesitate to be in contact with us, and we could otherwise pass those details on. The details are there at the bottom of the screen, I believe, today.
Okay. I just want to say one thing, Gida. One thing, Gida, sorry. Basically, here where I'm at now is in Canary Wharf.
Yes.
It's on Pepper Street, and the nearest station is Cross Harbour. It basically is like a creative space, and I'm a part of an art movement, a group of artists. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of Londoners 2020 Art Week or Black Art Matters. That happened recently, but we're based here in Canary Wharf, so people are welcome to come down and find us here and check things out.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for mentioning that. In fact, it was one of the exhibitions in concerns to the Art Week. I went to the Saatchi Gallery yesterday for their sport nets, which was interesting and it was fantastic, in fact. I do wish to have seen many other artists. You don't know, I wouldn't say everyone of colour. It's not that is not what it's about. What it is about is the art. Let's get our art out there so that we can see and reflect upon what reflects upon us.
I know that they do Saatchi. I know they do support black artists. I know there was a black, I think 1 October, let's say, there was a black artist exhibition there. Yeah.
Let's have more. It's not just 1 month, it's every day.
Exactly.
Again, thank you very much, Morris, and I look forward to seeing you and more of your work about, if not on one of my many walls within the house. Thank you very, very much. So a great round of applause. Woo! I can see you all waving. Thank you, and clapping. Thank you very, very much. Oh, wow. This month, October, today is the 25th of October, and clocks went back here, as they did in many places, in fact, everywhere, I believe. Is that right? Is that right? Is that correct? Is that right? Why am I saying that? Because it's about your attitude to time. It's about, does it matter if you're there on time? Does it matter if you get there in time? Does it matter if you get there when you get there? Well, I'm stating it's still your time. So it's what we make of it. Over the past few years, Poets and Monologues, which started in 2018, we even had a competition last year. And this is where I met our next guest. His name is Eric the Eagle. Eric the Eagle. Something different is what is going to be said, and something different is what we are going to be led into. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Eric the Eagle. Thank you.
Hi, yes, my name is Eric, and what I'm gonna be sharing this spoken word is titled Code 9. And as we all know what the world is going through, So it's a reflection. And this was spoken to a lot number of people and hearing they're saying and what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing. So, okay, put them together. So code 9. And it goes like this. You see the world that you know? Let me tell you, if you don't know, it has forever changed. If you do expect things to go back to normal as it was before the lockdown, I could look dead straight in your face and let you know that your mind, the way you're thinking, man, is truly insane. Don't you see, even the currency of the world, man, has forever changed? It's no longer money, wealth, it is your health. Oh, you don't believe me? Follow me. Let's go to the NHS. Okay, let's interview all the patients that they claim have contracted corona. And by the doctor instruction, be shoved, be pushed in the corner. Let's ask them one by one if their wealth can deliver them out of their dilemma. Let me tell you the answer is no. So, Mr. Ego, I am so intelligent, full of wisdom. So please tell us. So what do you think is the remedy? I'm glad that you've asked. You see, I've asked the same question to a lot of people randomly. Of us, excuse me, can you please tell me what you think about this COVID-19 coronavirus? See, a lot of them telling me this thing is a scum. I said, why? You see, they're telling me a lot of doctors got paid across the world. Whenever someone died, whatever disease, they've been told to put a stamp on the birth certificate and a big smile in your face and say, it's COVID-19. And see the government, yeah, mate, they're pulling their own strings. The main aim is to cut down and control the population. If you sit down and ask yourself the deep question concerning this pandemic, you're gonna realize, oh, God damn it, it's all planned, right in our planet. Yep, ask yourself the deep question, who are the most people suffering and die the most? Is the older generation. The reason why? Because it does cost the government arm and a leg to pay for their care homes, retirement funds, their pension. So to be honest, no, they're not thinking about your health. They're all thinking about their wealth. So yo, Mr. Eager, so what about this lockdown? The lockdown is a joke. Because once you're locked down, sitting down, watching Netflix, you come out for your 2-hour, 1-hour exercise rule, you see a fuck big lamppost. So yo, Mr. Eagle, what's that? 5G? So what's the 5G for? 5G has got nothing to do with coronavirus, yet it has a major effect on the immune system. And the 5G is the 5th generation technology to truck your ass all the way to your house. And now if you don't take your missus down to the restaurant, gotta download the app, leave your phone number. For what? Truck and trace, yep. They're trucking your ass. So what about this social distance? Man, don't you see? This is all demonic. Check the scriptures. When Elohim created her and him, he made us as such creatures. So what are they trying to do? Separate and conquer. So what about the mass? Well, the mass is a good tactic to control the masses. Because figure by it, if you cannot get the government to wear the mask, it's more likely you learn how to take the vaccine when they make it mandatory. To be honest, the only vaccine someone is getting is this, man. When they get back in the ring.
Come on now. Eric the Eagle. Oh my gosh, yeah, fly. There's, oh, look at my muscles. Okay. Eric. I love the way that, you know, you hear it and you're like, did he really say that? But more importantly, it's poignant. You know, just, it's what's been said, and this is what poetry, this is what the word brings. Do not underestimate the power of your words, people. And this is what poets, I've always said that poets come before the battle. They rev you up and we're going to be there. Don't be bothered looking right and left and right before, behind. Look in front, that's where we're going. Thank you, Eric. Hoo-yah.
My pleasure.
Not at all. Eric, first question. Now, I know that for you, you would have been fighting as a boxer because you are in fact a boxer. That's correct.
Correct. That's right. So I was meant to be fighting in May, but obviously before the lockdown. So when they announced Corona and everything shut down, obviously things changed. Obviously the day changing, I was meant to be in the ring. So, but I haven't stopped training. I've been, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Being ready, great believer in being ready. Being ready, not just kind of steady, but being ready. And not like Freddie, that was rhyming. Okay, we'll stop that. You entered a Poets Monologues competition in 2019. And
Correct.
Repeat that again, please.
Yes, that's right.
In entering that competition, you obviously prepared yourself and were ready. How has the work that you've done and your presentation changed for yourself in consensus as a poet over that time? How do you see the field of poetry or your presentation from that time when you entered to where you are now?
It gave me more experience in able to push myself, and to be honest, that was first, like compete, in a competition, like because obviously I was doing open mic, I was going different open mic, but when you're in the competition, is quite different. So it makes you dig deep, so it makes you grow, and so that did help me grow in the sense of how to dig deep and come up with be creative, be more creative.
Yes,
So
you
yeah,
certainly are. So I can hear the creativity in your words, which is one thing that a poet, someone who puts rhyme and song and so forth, anyone who puts their words together in such a way. It's the innuendos, which is found a lot within the English language, that double entendre when we say something and mean something else, or otherwise we're trying to mean something else and say something completely different. It's very much heard within the words that you're talking about and the situation that you're speaking of. Why did you find the passion to talk about this? Why was it important to you?
Because this is what has affect a lot, like most everyone in certain different level. Obviously, it affect me, obviously in the way, obviously in the industry I'm in, obviously I'm in the boxing industry, I do also personal training. So I do have a lot of other things. So it affected, it kind of stopped everything. And obviously people I was speaking to, it affect them and it affect people around me. And so, and it got you to think, and I'm really, obviously I'm a deep thinker as a poet, I don't just look in the face value. I ask, okay, why is that ticket? So I look more than what the eye see. So yeah, that's what motivate me to write about, because it's something that a lot of people can relate to, and it will get people's attention because this affect me. So a lot of people that I've shared with, I mean, like, this that does relate to me. So that's what I see, writing about. So I write with things that a lot of people can relate.
And the
For example,
like,
the other thing, there was numbers. The one I did is affects everyone. Everyone can relate to it. So obviously, the COVID-19 is something that everyone can relate to because it has effects.
Thank you.
Everyone is slightly different way.
Most certainly. I love the way that you, well, another time we most certainly will hear your numbers one, which I do like to hear, and just the ingenuity and the smartness of it. And where my respect comes for your work is understanding that also as a boxer, some of the most, well, not some of the most, but one of the world's the most famous boxers, Muhammad Ali, also used his poetry, he used his words within the battle that he had with his components. And I like the way that you put that out there, and it gives me respect for the sportsman within you, and the sportsmen in general, who obviously, you know, they rev themselves up in terms of what they have to say. We have one of our most renowned sportsmen at the current time, I would say this, Lewis Hamilton, who is abounding in concerns to records that he's achieving and going above and beyond records that have been set as a Formula One driver at this current time. Your work as a boxer, how do you find the two of the things relate that help you kind of like do something that you really have to focus within your training, and then you have the opportunity for the downtime? It's helping you to ensure that you can get your message across within those two things. May I ask, as a sportsman?
Yeah, definitely. As obviously poetry is an art itself, and you know, you let your people, like people ask, why you writing poetry and you're a boxer? I said, wait, don't you know that boxing is poetry? You know, as a boxer, when I'm in the ring, I gotta think about my timing. I gotta throw the right punch. I gotta throw the, you know what I'm saying, the right. If I throw a lazy jab, I can get countered with a straight right hand, overhand. So same thing as when I'm writing, I gotta think about the words, choose the words. You know, will the next word connect as a hook to the following word? With the rhyme, with the flow? Obviously in the ring, I gotta sleep and dodge and roll. And so, you know what I'm saying? So boxing is as poetry. And also it keep your mind sharp. It keep you mentally on your toes. So you gotta be thinking about the next words. So in the ring, you gotta be quick. So same thing. So is mind fitness. So it keep me on my toe mentally. Obviously, writing wordplay. As you mentioned, Muhammad Ali, you know, one of the greatest fighters. I use his words, and yeah. So I'm not saying most of the time I beat his opponent with his words. You know?
Thank you very, very much, Eric. Thank you, Eric the Eagle. I do even want to ask, I have more questions to ask you and all of our other artists, but we're going to have you back with us again. I am sure. I would like to think so. Thank you very, very much for being with us today, and thank you very much for sharing Code 9. Thank you.
Yes, that is a pleasure. And actually, there was another spoken word I was going to give.
You know, we are so fortunate over the past few months to have such artists, and I'm so proud of them. The artists that we've spoken to and that we've been with today have given us all an insight into their world. And it's just as a case of, it is not just a case of how they have written about it, it's how that it has affected and how it affects what they do and their environment. We're going to look at our environment. We're going to look at where we're going when we do go out, the people that we interact with and how we interact with them. That smallest kindness can make such a difference. And even though we may be singled out, or you may be feeling singled out, ICU UC ME, what do you really see of yourselves? It's a time of reflection, knowing that only you can make the difference from where you are. The greatest bit of work that you could ever work on is yourselves. I'm so proud of all our artists that we've had with us today. Before we wrap up and we spend time with the last individual, our last artist, entrepreneur who's going to be with us this evening, I want to reflect on some other things. And that is that some of our greatest leaders, I bring to mind Martin Luther King. I bring to mind Rosa Parks, who made an effect on what happened within that time in the world at that place. Going to another part of the world, let's talk about Gandhi is also memorable. And then we have Nelson Mandela. So Maya Angelou. Now, these are people on a different side of the pond. However, what is my point? My point is that they were young individuals. I'm hearing it said a lot. It's the young that's going to make a difference, and they're going to make a change. Let me see it happen. Let me hear your voice correctly. Have a plan and go forward. The young, yes, a lot is put in their shoes, what they may have to pay for and what is owed. That's not the point. The point is what you can do with what you have from where you are. ICU UC Me is bringing to you the artists and also the perspective that we have as a community, as a nation, as a group, from the perspective of Black. The next person which we are going to be speaking with today, let me show you now how it got. Not just an author. What encourages me to want to speak to this person is actually where he is at the current time. He works with the criminal justice reform system. He's a public speaker. He works with re-entry into employment specialist. He is a re-entry employment specialist, which I gather is somebody who works with people who are going back into the employment system, which means where were they before? Let's think about that. Leadership trainer. Now, why is this story important? Why does it even matter? Because we want to know. We want to know. That's why it's important, because we're going to talk to him. We're going to ask him first the main question, how was your day? I know he's going to take this, and he told me it was snowing when we spoke to him earlier, so it's cold. But not just that, it's a perspective of what is happening somewhere else. We are currently in London, where I am right now, and I want to thank all those people in the States, in Africa, who are watching us, who are with us. And if you like the show, contribute. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please contribute. Show us your love through that. Show us your enhancing ways. Embrace us, contribute. Go to www.ko-fi.com. It's Poets and Monologues and also ICU UC Me together. We're giving you this show. We're putting out what we have with the best of us, with the blunders and all, because we're live. Now, let's talk with Thierry Cordell and find out what's happening on the other side of the world, but he is in the US of A, Minneapolis. All right, how you doing?
Hi, how you doing? I'm all right.
I'm very well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
Not at all. Now, I would say that Thierry is with us from our very first show that we did in July. And the piece that he did that we shared with you was I Can't Read. And it was quite an impact. We really wanted to bring him back because when we first started ICU UC Me, why? Because of the impact that someone's passing, someone's death had on not just myself, but many people, which is why Poets and Monologues, together with Gida Live, bring you ICU UC Me. We have the opportunity to speak to this individual, Thierry, I apologize, who's going to tell us a little bit more about what's really happening on the ground. Can you tell us something about what's changed, if anything, within the immediate area that you live in? And where is that exactly, so the public will know?
Thank you. It's in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Minnesota would probably be, I guess we're considered like the Midwest, kind of central, between the East Coast and the West Coast, like right in the middle. Probably about like a little bit away from Chicago. And so, but as far as change goes, George Floyd got murdered about 3 blocks from where I grew up, and it's absolutely changed a lot. While when the National Guard came and locked us down and put us on curfew, it was the KKK came from out of town, and they were really up here. They were actually attacking a lot of the Black businesses that we have here, and a lot of, and it was crazy because the business owners and a few brothers from the community who were licensed to carry firearms up here, we all had to kind of like band together to protect our businesses here. Otherwise, we wouldn't have really had anything left. Yeah, and then my sister, they found a car full of explosives in my little sister's front yard. So like to everybody who I don't know how it's conveyed to you guys there, or if what I'm saying even trickled to London but it's been very real. It's been a very America's always kind of been like a racial hotbed. Police killing Black people, unfortunately, is normal here. It shouldn't be, but it is. But part of what I do, aside from criminal justice and prison reform, is I do a lot of Afrocentric self-development, which includes civic engagement, getting people to the polls to vote. Now, I say that because when this happened, when George Floyd happened, strategically and luckily, we placed a Black police chief. We put him there. We had a Black attorney general, and the attorney general here, he's like the top law enforcement person in the whole state. And so we had a lot of key figures in place, whereas if we wouldn't have voted and put these people strategically in these places, I don't think we would have got any of those police charged, to be honest with you. But it's been it's kind of calmed down now. I mean, honestly, it's a lot of racial fatigue with all of the talk of defunding the police. That's one thing. So now the police are kind of just like, well, hey, you guys can just kill yourselves. And so the police don't really care, so to speak. And so, and to that effect, crime, we've had like a 400% spike in violent crime here ever since George Floyd happened, unfortunately. There hasn't really been too many other racially motivated incidents, but since George Floyd, but unfortunately, there's been a lot of Black people, killing each other, and it's unfortunate, and it's difficult because we have the racial piece that's been going on historically for years, and then you have the piece where we're killing ourselves right after George Floyd, and then you have Corona, and it's just very we're just kind of fatigued up here, and now it's snow on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's
that's great. Ain't nothing but snow. I'll tell you, when that snow comes, you got to really change up. And we may not understand that here in the same way, because yes, there's snow in London, but it's different when you get it in, because it kind of like falls, it gets hard, and that's it. And it's, unless you got some duck boots, you ain't getting nowhere fast. So you know what we're talking about. But bringing us back to those that have no idea of the Atlantic or otherwise what's happening on the other side of the pond. And I say pond because in some respects politically that may be what it's called, but it's definitely over there. And over there, it's hard for us to imagine some of those things because the police here do not carry guns. However, we're still dealing with the Black on Black crime. And you're talking about it. I can't even imagine those figures, but the reality of a change is going to come, which is what I thought of when you said that. The change in how we police ourselves. So we've literally got to reevaluate how we're going to look after this situation. Obviously, circumstances which are occurring between us, Black on Black, then there's obviously the KKK, which you spoke of. That's, out of my remit in concerns to dealing with that here. But however, there are circumstances when we deal with situations with like that subliminally. That's quite weird.
Yeah,
so
and
that takes a lot of strength for the young ones. How are you educating, just to come to my point, how are you educating those that are coming out of reform into that environment, when I'm sure when they went in, so to speak, it would have been a different reform, because here we are aware that a lot of, I would say, our Black men are in the reform system. So I'm going to ask you that question. How are you dealing with that change? Because they're coming back into a world which is no better in that sense. Okay.
Yeah, great question. We it is difficult for men leaving one traumatic environment and then boom, being forced right into another racially charged powder keg. And I deal with guys who have done like 18 years flat, and that haven't been around for a while. And so one thing we like to do, I think you guys call it maybe resettlement or something like that. Well, yeah, it's basically the same thing. We have cognitive healing circles. Not everybody does what we do, but we definitely have a space where men can actually come unload, and when they come from prison, or any at-risk youth that we get, they come straight to me, and I provide mentorship, leadership, training, employment, whatever they need, I do. And so we just really try to do check-ins, and we do kind of ongoing leadership training every Tuesday nights from 6 to 8. That's actually online. And we just create a space where men can be vulnerable and not feel like, because you're going to experience problems, you're going to go through things, and we just iron sharpens iron. And so all our guys, when we train them, we also make sure it's a requirement that they come in the group and just get fed. We build each other up, and we make sure that everybody is good, because it's hard out here right now, just period. So and the two main things that our men here experience when they do re-enter society is housing discrimination and employment discrimination. That's prevalent here. That's prevalent here even if you don't have a record. So it's but yeah, I work to, that's where I come in at. So
Wow, that's quite a responsibility that you have there. Thierry, I know we're coming up to the top of the hour, and we want to continue to find out information about what is happening on that part of the pond, especially as you're in vicinity in the area of the United States. It is, I'm going to say, middle country, part of the Bible Belt as well, I believe, or just below in concerns to where you are, that Midwest part of the country, where over here, or this part of the world, many people may have gone to the States, but it may not be the case that many people stateside have come to Europe. I say that because it is known that many people do not necessarily leave the United States or vacation or travel as much as others. That obviously makes a difference to people's perspective in the United States as opposed to anywhere else. Do you find within the people that you talk to that the perspective is one of hope? Because you've got an election coming up soon. I only ask you to make your reply just a little bit succinct because we're wrapping up soon. So do you have any comments to that?
About the election?
Well, we've got the election coming up soon, and I'm talking about your election that's happening in the States, because you talk about encouraging people to vote, encouraging people to get to the ballot, and that's a whole nother story, them actually wanting to, irrespective of who they're going to vote for, but their perspective on the hope for the future, their perspective of that there's going to be better days, that we can make a change. How are you seeing that and feeling that where you are?
Yeah, absolutely. I just encourage as many people. It's hard for people of color to think that they have a voice. But the other half of us, they say, oh, well, I don't like either one of them. And I say, well, you didn't like the person you just bought that Big Mac from, but you still ate it. So, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Get out and vote, or don't complain. So.
Very
Yeah,
well said.
that's
Thank
the
you.
short answer.
Thank you. I want to congratulate you on your engagement. I know it's some time now, that might be too much information, but nonetheless, congratulations. Very nice.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for the information you have imparted with us. And I look forward as we continue to find out what's going on. So you'll be back with us hopefully at the beginning of the year, especially in concerns to knowing what's happening come November. Well, it's 3rd for you, but when we come back, it'll be November 29th. And for that, our next show will be Love, Life and Laughter. Love, Life and Laughter. That's what I'm talking about. You know it makes sense. Ain't it, Charlie
Yeah,
Brown?
absolutely.
You know it makes sense. Love, Life and Laughter. Join us then on the 29th of November. It'll be 6:30 as we're usually here at that time. There's some other things that I want to mention to you. I want to thank all of our guests today. We've had Sharon, Jason, Eric, KG, I'm not missing anybody there, Thierry, and I know I've got a name that I can't, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sharon, KG, Thierry, Morris, there we go, and Thierry, and Sharon, and KG, and Morris, there we go, and Morris, I said that before, and KG, there we go. You will notice that there's been one lady in that group, and within that, you know, I say blessings and most certainly peace to you all. By that, our lovely Queen and Empress Sharon, thank you. You did so well amongst all the kings amongst us. We're going to wrap it up for today, and I have encouraged you, please donate. If you've got even an inkling to, you know, just being supportive, and there's something that you heard, something you thought that really made a difference to your life, and something that you want to do, let us know. Be in communication with us. Talk to us. And that'd be great. You can contribute at www.kofi.com. You have been watching, listening, and been a part of ICU UC ME. It is Poets and Monologues and Gida Live that have brought to you ICU UC ME. T-shirts are available, as you know. My name is Gida. I've been your host for today. I was going to finish off with a little piece just so that we know where we're going. It's the love that remains. It's the love, the sorrow that reminds us tomorrow shall not be the same. It's the love that reminds of the way that we left. Feeling empty, it feels, remember her name. It's the love, that's the same, because it's always what remains. Wherever we are, the memories borrow. It's the love that turns deep. It sweeps, we weep. Yes, it's the love of tomorrow. Do not despair. It is a love that sustains, not refrains. However, remain to tell of her every endeavor, how she walked, how she talked, what she taught, the love she knew, you gave her, her story. You tell of her glory. It's a love that remains and we share. I want to thank you all very much for listening. Jason Bond, KG, Thierry, Sharon, Morris, Eric. I've got everyone there. I don't forget anybody. Thank you very, very much. You've been watching ICU UC ME. My name is Gida. I think we're going to credits. Thank you very much, engineer. Over and out.